الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف. Consulting our dear Sheikh Ansari, I thought maybe I took in English so that if there are people who don't know Arabic, then they also get the message. First, I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the blessing of having this meeting today and see many scholars and dear members of our community. And also I thank for the organizers for inviting me. And I hope inshallah the discussions today will be helping us better understand our responsibilities towards Imam Mahdi Sharif. Sometimes there is a misunderstanding about the nature of the changes that happen that will prepare for coming of Imam Mahdi Sharif. Some people think that there will be changes, but these changes are not necessarily helping and preparing. There can be changes that are actually completely opposite to what Imam comes for his coming. For example, there must be lots of corrupt things that are going to happen, lots of injustice, lots of division and tensions and wars and conflicts, and then Imam is going to come. And sometimes even some people think the reason Imam is not with us is because we don't have enough of injustice. When injustice is reaching its peak, then Imam is going to come. As if the only condition for Imam's coming is to have more injustice. I think this is a misunderstanding that if we don't clarify, can stop us from the blessing of witnessing and being part of those people and that generation that will prepare for coming of Imam. Imam Mahdi's coming is not like a mission or message that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives to a nation. For example, if you look at the society before Islam, the society before Islam is not a society that prepared itself for the gift of Islam to come. The society is not a society in which you would expect a message like the Quran to come. Actually, if you read history, if you read the Quran itself, if you read what Imam Ali salam says in Nahjul Balagha about the situation before Islam, we find that Islam was quite a surprise to that society. A society that for a long time had received no message from sky. Ala fatratan min ar-rusul. There were no messengers for a long time. There were lots of problems. The society that had no value for human life, for honor and dignity, no mercy and no love, no interest in education. Illiteracy was only part of the problem. In that society in which there was no way that you could naturally expect something like Quran, something like Islam to come, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gifted them with the blessing of Islam. But we should not expect that the same is going to be the case with Imam Mahdi, that we go to the wrong direction, to opposite direction, then something comes. We go to total darkness, and then a flash of light comes. No, that's not the case. If that was the case, why we had to wait so long? The idea is that humanity, in its process of evolution And improvement should reach a point that they would be able to demonstrate their capacity for welcoming an infallible teacher, an infallible guide. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا رُسُلَنَا بِالْبَيِّنَاتِ وَأَنزَلْنَا مَعَهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْمِيزَانَ لِيَقُومَ النَّاسُ بِالْقِسْطِ. This لِيَقُومَ النَّاسُ بِالْقِسْطِ is going to happen under the leadership of Imam Mahdi. But if you have a generation of people who are just sitting and they are not standing up for justice, then they cannot say we are waiting for someone who is going to offer universal justice to all humanity. So we need to work hard in order to demonstrate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we have used all available resources. We have improved our condition to the best of our capacity and understanding. Now we need to go one step further. We have benefited from our scholars. We have listened to our ulama and maraji. We have sorted out our problems. We have united our affairs. Now we want to go one step further. And that is when only a ma'soom can help us. Like a person that is part of a community and working hard to, for example, bring the greatest philosopher or the greatest jurist to their community. If you want to bring the greatest philosopher of the world to our community, what should we do? Shouldn't we start using all the available resources and scholarship and scholars to upgrade ourselves and reach a level that we can say to that person that we want to invite with all honesty that we have done our best in order to educate ourselves and to improve ourselves. Now we only need you. There is nothing else left that we didn't try and we didn't do. And among things that we need to do, I mentioned two things very quickly. One, we have to invest on increasing ma'rifah and understanding. A very important part of success comes from interesting point that we have in hadith of Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam to Abu Khalid al-Kabuli. And of course it's an example. When Imam talks about the people who are waiting for Imam Mahdi al-Jalallah ta'ala farajahu al-Sharif, he says, they are afwalu ahl kull zaman, the best of people of all ages. It is true there will be corruption, there will be injustice, but we forget that we would have the best of people in that time. أفضل أهل كل زمان. Why? What makes them special? It is just performing some actions, some practices, some rituals? No. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala أعطاه من العقول والأفهام والمعرفة ما صارت به الغيبة عندهم بمنزلة المشاهدة. If our generation wants to welcome Imam Mahdi, we have to prove that for us seeing Imam or not seeing Imam is not going to make a difference. We are not those students when the teacher is there and watching them, they are very polite, they take notes, but when the teacher goes away, they do all the mischief. They start fighting. No. We Shia have to invest on ma'rifah, on aql, on fahm. And this has to shape and form our activities. Anything that we do in our community should have at least some contribution, if it is not the greatest part of it, some contribution to increase of ma'rifah, to increase of understanding. Not we just keep repeating things. And the second thing which is very important is our own unity. Imam Mahdi Ajalallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif in his writing, in his tawqih, very clearly said, لو أن أشياعنا وفقهم الله لطاعته. If our Shia, may Allah bless them with tawfiq for his obedience, were على اجتماع من الأمر, if they were united in their affairs, والوفاء بما عليهم من العهد, لما تأخر عنهم اليمن بلقائنا, ولتعجلت لهم السعادة بمشاهدتنا. So it is our lack of unity that stops Imam coming. We should be very united. And I would like to end with this passage from Dua al-Nudbah, which for me shows the amount of love and sympathy that should be among the Shia. When we say to Imam Mahdi Ajalallah Ta'ala Farajuhu Sharif, هل من معين فأطيل معه العبيد والبكاء. O Imam, is there any helper with whom I can prolong my cry for you? It doesn't say فأبكي معه. It says أطيل معه العبيد والبكاء. It's the beauty of working together. If we can work together, each of us can work longer and better. And even for something like crying, we should work together. Now can you imagine for running a community, we don't work together? If for something personal like crying, we have to be working together as a team, what about other things? هل من جزوع فأصاعد جزعه إذا خلا. Is there anyone lamenting for you that I go and help him? In the first sentence we say, is there any helper? In the second we say, is there anyone that I go and help him when he is in his private? The Shia should not only meet in Husayniyah or Masjid, the Shia should have very personal, intimate relations. We should visit each other in our houses, like a family.